Terry, you're jumping ahead of me. Thank you, General Counsel Topping. So that's why we're here today. I do detect that there is a quorum present, but there is not a physical quorum present. So we have to jump through a couple of hoops in order to have this meeting without a physical quorum. General Counsel Topping to explain how that works.
Thank you. So this meeting will be conducted pursuant to the Tennessee Open Meetings Act, specifically Title 8, Chapter 44, Section 108, which allows participation by electronic means, as we have on the phone, and we will be filing a statement of necessity with the Office of the Secretary of State later today. This was determined to be necessary for a couple of reasons, which I'll go through and will state into the record. Firstly, the members of the Ethics Commission reside across all 3 grand divisions of the state of Tennessee, meaning that a majority of our members are physically located outside of the Nashville metro area. The business necessary to be conducted at this meeting, as Director Young has already addressed, consists of only one matter, a preliminary hearing regarding a sworn complaint. That hearing has been expedited for a special meeting due to the sensitivity of the matter and at the request of the state representative against whom the complaint was filed pursuant to statute. As this matter is a preliminary review focused on determining only whether the Commission has jurisdiction over the complaint, the time necessary to conduct the meeting is expected to be relatively short in comparison to the Commission's usual meeting agendas. And because the time necessary to complete the business is expected to be relatively small, the conduct of the meeting by electronic means is much more use of resources in order to complete the Commission's business and to avoid the necessity that all members of the Nashville Metro. All elements of the Open Meeting Act will be observed, and this meeting is being conducted publicly, open to the public to participate both in the room and or to attend and to be a part of the meeting both in person and by phone. That is what I have. The only other thing, all votes taken by the Commission
Hearing by 2025. For the record, these hearings are normally confidential under our statute. However, in this case, when the complaints were filed, actually prior to the complaints being filed with this office, the complaints were distributed to media, to the press, and became public even before they were filed with this office. Accordingly, Representative Mayberry, who's the named respondent in each of these complaints, requested, as he can do under statute, TCA 36202A1D. He also requested an expedited hearing, which the chair of the Ethics Commission granted, given the sensitivity of these matters and the press attention to these matters. So again, normally these matters are confidential. We would be hearing this in executive session with no one present except the Ethics Commission and staff, because Representative Mayberry exercised that statutory option. The hearing today is public. So why are we here today? We're here on a preliminary hearing for the Ethics Commission to determine whether there is probable cause to proceed forward with these complaints. That determination of probable cause is also an issue of whether the Ethics Commission has jurisdiction over the matters raised in these complaints. At this stage, in the past, the Ethics Commission normally has just heard from staff on the question of probable cause. There's no ceremony from these that will come later. A show cause hearing. But that's not why we're here today. We're not here to hear from the parties. We're here to determine the sole question of whether there's probable cause for the Ethics Commission to proceed forward with these consolidated complaints. The staff has prepared a memorandum and distributed that to the Ethics Commission. That memorandum will be available as a public record after this meeting is concluded. But I wanted to, for the members, Ethics Commission members, to go through staff recommendation. And the bottom line of staff recommendation is reflected in the memorandum and materials is that the Ethics Commission does lack jurisdiction to hear any of the matters raised in these complaints, and staff recommendation is that these complaints be dismissed. Specifically, there are essentially three issues that are raised in these complaints. The first issue is that Representative Mayberry, who's also a member of the school board of the Clarksville Montgomery County Consolidated School Board, that he cannot hold both of these offices simultaneously. As staff indicates in its memo, first, the Ethics Commission has no jurisdiction to determine qualifications for office. In other words, the Ethics Commission lacks jurisdiction to determine whether Representative Mayberry can serve in the General Assembly. That's a question presented to the General Assembly, or on the school board of Clarksville Montgomery County. That's a position that the school board would have to deal with. There also are ouster procedures that are set forth in the statute. So put quite simply, the Ethics Commission, in staff's opinion, has no jurisdiction. But even if the Ethics Commission had jurisdiction on this particular question, out in the memorandum, the Tennessee Supreme Court has stated that there is no constitutional impediment under the Tennessee Constitution to Mr. Mayberry holding both position on the school board and a position in the General Assembly. That is very clear in the Supreme Court law and in the Attorney General's opinion. That's also cited in our material. So even if the Ethics Commission had jurisdiction here, there's no constitutional impediment to him holding both offices. The second question raised in the complaint generally is concerns the statement of interest. The Ethics Commission is required by statute, but the complaints make no allegation that these statements are filed or any deficiency. These statements attach those statements of interest to your materials, members, and you will note that they have been timely filed, both in his position as a member of the school board and as a state representative, and there have been no indication that there are any deficiencies with those statements of interest filed with the Ethics Commission. And finally, and this is really the gist of most of the complaints, the complainants make the allegation that somehow that Representative Mayberry's positions in the General Assembly, either positions he's taken on bills or bills he's introduced, somehow create an ethical problem for him, a conflict of interest for him under the Code of Conduct, the governance processes set forth by the Clarksville Montgomery County Consolidated School Board system. First, we would note that members, staff's recommendation is that the Ethics Commission has no jurisdiction over this matter. As the Ethics Commission knows, the Ethics Commission has jurisdiction, very limited jurisdiction on ethics matters, and they're limited really to state officials. Local officials are governed by their own codes of conduct, including the school board up in Clarksville, Tennessee. And it's up to those bodies to determine whether those codes of conduct have been violated. The statutes are clear on this. They put the responsibility with the Clarksville School Board, and indeed we put those code of conduct and the governance requirements of the Clarksville School Board in your materials, and you know, and I'll compliment them, those are very well done. They're very specific about what's expected of the members, and they have a process set forth in that governance process on how anyone who feels that a board member is not complying with the code of ethics process for the school board to deal with those matters. So, bottom line, again, the Ethics Commission lacks jurisdiction over these sorts of complaints. But we would also state that even if the Ethics Commission did have jurisdiction, the complaints that are raised here are basically policy disagreements between the complainants and Representative Mayberry, School Board Member Mayberry. These are all political issues at the end of the day. They are not violations of any sort of code of ethics, whether it be the Clarksville School Board or our code of ethics. They are purely and simply disagreements politically. The complainants, I'm sure, and I'm sure Representative Mayberry, are very sincere in their political beliefs. Complainants raise serious issues. That's currently pending with the General Assembly, but there's a process for dealing with that. And the process for dealing with it, legislation, one thinks there's a constitutional problem in the Tennessee Federal Constitution, they can proceed to court. Ethics Commission, indeed, as the memo points out, the issues that are raised by the complainant are left to the political process and to the ballot box. These are political issues. We don't see that they implicate any violation of the code of ethics of the Clarksville School Board. Again, that's the board's determination to make, not the Ethics Commission. So members of the Ethics Commission, I've generally gone through the complaint. I would note, Madam Chair, as I noted at the end of the staff memo, this complaint is dangerously close to being on the edge of whether it meets the requirements of a legitimate complaint, because the issues seem to be so clear cut the other way, and they seem to be just political issues that should be raised in another forum and not before the Ethics Commission. I leave that to the Ethics Commission to decide if it wants to take any action on that. That's our recommendation, Madam Chair. Certainly I am at, and staff is at your discretion. You can either adopt the recommendation, change it, do whatever you wish. The decision ultimately is with the Ethics Commission, not with staff, but staff is giving you our memorandum and materials on our recommendation. And with that, Madam Chair, I'm handing it over to you, and you can proceed as you wish, and we are at your discretion on how you wish to proceed. We would note, since you're not in the room, that there are people in the audience here for this hearing. Normally that would not be the case because it's confidential hearing, because it's open to the public. We do have folks in attendance. So, Madam Chair, I hand it over to you after that fairly lengthy explanation of our memorandum.
Well, thank you, Director Young. I want to thank you for the work you and your staff have done to investigate this matter while working to uphold Tennessee Code Annotated. And I recognize this was a lot of work in a relatively short amount of time. And I also want to state for the record, I know that you alluded to this being a special called meeting, but for the record, because I don't think we said this, our next regularly scheduled meeting was and is scheduled for August 12th, which is essentially 4 months from now. And that's a long time for a matter such as this to have been held for discussion when it has been shared with the media. We felt that it was urgent that this body try to not let it go unanswered for that long, and that's why we felt today's meeting was best to call a hearing for this matter. And excuse me, I also want to make sure that our commission members and the public understand that I'm sure you and Ms. Topping, because we've discussed this, that you've had to fill numerous phone calls and emails. Excuse me, East Tennessee allergies today. But you filled in phone calls and emails from the public and the media. So today's meeting is far from our normal process of procedures, but we felt like this matter called for urgency and discussing members. If any of you all have questions, comments,
like to make a motion after hearing everything from the director and from yourself, and I appreciate the staff as well as compiling all this information. Based on their recommendation, based on the facts they presented in their compilation, and based on previous rulings by the Tennessee Supreme Court, that we dismiss this complaint from cover to cover. It appears to be, well, it appears to be political would be the nice word. It appears to be a colossal waste of time by the state's resources and employees on something that should be handled at the ballot box. It appears to be something that has tried to misuse the Ethics Commission and what we oversee as a tool to make a headline in the newspaper. When you leak something to the media before you file it with the state, you have completed your objective. I do not think the objective was to reach a responsible conclusion. I feel like the objective was to reach a headline, and that objective has been made. I don't know the state representative, don't know the complainants, but I know what I've read, and that's my opinion. I would like to make a motion that we dismiss this based on the staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Gilbert.
This is Lynn Richardson, and I would like to second.
Thank you, Thank you, Commissioner Richardson. Is there any further discussion?
This is Commissioner Stacey Floyd Thomas. I third the recommendation, and I see no ambiguity on how to move forward. So I just want to affirm with appreciation the thorough work and recommendation that's being brought forth by council.
Thank you, Commissioner Floyd Thomas. Do we have any other commissioners who would like to make a statement for the record?
This is Martin McCain. I'm from the same, I think. We shouldn't have been about it.
Thank you, Commissioner McCain. Do we have any others? I haven't heard Commissioner Trevor. Is he on this morning?
I am. Morning again, but the citizens that there was nothing in here that really truly the Ethics Commission had jurisdiction on.
Thank you, Commissioner Trevor, and I too concur with my distinguished colleagues. So at this time, I would ask Janet, will you please take a roll call vote of the commission?
Floyd Thomas,
I affirm.
Gilbert,
Aye.
McCain,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
Trauber,
Aye.
White.
Aye. Okay, thank you, commissioners. That was a unanimous vote to dismiss this complaint. Director Young, before we adjourn the call, I would like to make a statement for the record on behalf of myself and this body. I have served on the body for 15 years, and I am extremely disturbed by what we have seen and heard regarding this matter. And for the record, I do not recall a time ever before this past year and one other recent case that involves complainant parties sharing copies of a formal complaint with the press. This particular complaint and members of the press having sworn copies of the complaint before the Ethics Commission and the Bureau of Staff had ever received them is very disturbing. I don't like it at all. Your political party does not matter to me. What concerns me greatly is that what this group has done would essentially weaponize the Ethics Commission for political purposes. If there was ever a reckless disregard, I believe that it has been with today's hearing. And just because someone votes for legislation that is in contrast to another person or group's political beliefs or opinions, it does not equate to an ethics violation. Let me be clear to the complainant. You signed sworn statements, and you may have overlooked TTA 36208, which are sanctions for unsubstantiated complaints. The language is provided in the sworn complainant form, and it says that submitting a complaint containing false information or submitting a complaint in reckless disregard of the truth or falsify of the information contained therein constitutes a Class 2 offense which may subject you to civil penalties in an amount up to $10,000 and may additionally subject you to liability for the reasonable cost and effort of the falsely accused. This body was not created to be used as a political pawn for headlines. We take our work very seriously. We are all volunteers who serve our state. I believe it is most unfortunate that you have chosen to share a very serious complaint against an elected official in the manner in which you did. I hope that you all understand this and truly reckless disregard, in my opinion. I do not know how my colleagues feel about in disregard, but I want my concerns stated and noticed for the record because the work of this body cannot be used at any point to advance any person or any political party's objectives. There should be serious repercussions for those who act in such a manner as this. And while I do applaud everyone's political involvement and passion, matters like today should and can be resolved at the local ballot box. And at this time, I'll ask if any of my colleagues have comments that they would also like to make for the record.
I affirm, this is Commissioner Floyd Thomas, I affirm, to the letter that was said, in any way attached to our vote, and for people to understand. I would appreciate it. So I would make a motion for that. I would actually make a motion for that. Because the fact that this is precedent setting, is a cause for concern. And it will upend the work that we are commissioned to do, empowered to do, and that's necessary for the democracy of our constituency. And this is a foul move.
This is Member Gilbert, and I would second Dr. Floyd Thomas's motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Floyd Thomas and Commissioner Gilbert. Does anyone else have anything to say for the record?
Madam Chair, just this is your Executive Director Bill Young. Just for clarification purposes, Member Floyd Thomas, are you suggesting that we set a show cause hearing to determine whether there has been a violation of 208, or are you just?
I will go with your counsel, but I almost want to go as far as making, if we take such disregard for our office, for our constituency, and our time, and the time of our citizens, perhaps we do need to do something as forceful, because clearly there's a disregard to it. But I will go with the counsel of the staff.
Yeah, my recommendation is if you wanted to make that, sitting next to our general counsel, if you wanted to make that by statute, what we would have to do is make a motion to set a show cause hearing to allow the complainants to come, demonstrate why they should not be penalized for filing these complaints under subsection 308. That would be the proper procedure to let them have a due process hearing on that particular violation. And you could hear from them and decide not to do anything, or you could hear from them and decide to issue a civil penalty, but would give them to explain why they did what they did.
And Member Floyd Thomas, this is Lauren Topping, counsel for the commission. If you decided that you didn't want to go that way, the way that I understood your motion initially would be to make a note of these concerns in the meeting minutes, which I could do. I could send those meeting minutes around to you, let you review them to determine whether or not I have captured your concerns. We could address that at the next meeting if I didn't capture your concerns correctly. But those are the two options I believe that are available to you.
Yes, just to follow up on General Counsel Topping, you can make a statement and end it there, or you can actually set a show cause hearing to let the complainants come explain their actions in this matter. And I'm at your discretion, whichever way
Well, I think my recommendation, they would make a statement and say that any further action in this manner would necessitate show cause, a show cause hearing.
I would
So-
second the motion for the statement.
Okay?
I've been, this is Charles Crawford. I've been listening, and I do not disagree with anything my colleague has said. The last point of getting the point over to them in writing, in my opinion, should be sufficient with the caveat that you're going to put in there to continue this type of behavior. Then you will have to seek help again in that case.
I take that amendment to my word.
Okay, Madam Chair,
Commissioner Richardson.
staff understands the motion, at your discretion how you want to proceed.
Very good. Let's call for the vote, and let's do a roll call.
Floyd Thomas,
I affirm.
Gilbert,
Aye.
McCain, Richardson,
Aye.
Trauber,
Aye.
White.
Aye. All right. Thank you again, Director Young and staff, for all of your work on this. And without any further, I would say we are adjourned.
We are adjourned, Madam Chair. Thank you all for calling in and appreciate y'all's hard work. I know you all have busy schedules. You do this as volunteers, so it's greatly appreciated that you took the time, and we will see you in August, if not before. Safe travels.
Thank you.
God, you know.
For the record, the meeting is now adjourned.
This mic is acting weird. Sorry about that. You can take a step up, please. All right.
And
Mayberry, A.R. District 68, and a school board member in Clarksville, Montgomery County, District 7.
okay, so tell us a little bit about the review board meeting and your case, complaints made against you. I did see that they kind of dismissed. What are your thoughts behind that?
So leading up to this, 5 individuals in my community who were very politically motivated. They were left-wing within my community, who are many of them activists themselves. And one of them, who's run a failed campaign for state senate, have come and tried to politically target the Ethics Commission for their swift decision to come out and make the statement that I have not done anything wrong. I appreciate that. And I'm here just District 7 in the ward.
Yeah, they mentioned that this was precedented, like never happened before, where these complainants kind of shared the complaints with the media beforehand. So, they kind of, calling them out on that, but concern. What are your thoughts about that?
I believe it is obviously politically motivated to try to, in my words, high pressure campaign against me to get me off of the school board when I was duly elected by the people of my district. And people who elected me to the state house school board to finish out my term. I don't plan to run again on the school board. I'm going to finish out that term. So if they means it'll be an open seat. They county and people pull me up on the school board.
And I know that in the
policy, and if I have, certainly others have as well. But I, again, think that the words that they say
I could be.
trying to come against me as an elected official because they just